went ahead and primed my eyes using the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer in the shade Swan. And I did this eye off camera just so I can kind of get a feel of what I want to do. And I had already filmed this eye and everything, and I hated the way it looked. It just wasn't blending the way I had wanted it to. So we're just going to go ahead and start over. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the Fenty Beauty In the Sun bronzer, and I'm going to use that as my transition shade. I feel like that word is so hard for me to say. And I'm going to take it on a big fluffy brush. This is the M531. This palette that I'm going to use is the Norvina Volume 1 palette. And it really doesn't have a lot of light enough transition shades that work for me. And I like to start off with the lightest shade and then work my way to the darkest. But I know some people like to start with the darkest and then work their way to the lightest, which I do that sometimes too. It just kind of depends on what I want to do. And I feel like I used to do smoky eyes all the time, but they kind of got hard for me, I guess because I stopped doing them as much. And so now I just feel like I'm not as good as I used to be with them. So sometimes I just feel like this is the easiest way for me to do them. Next I'm going to another Fenty Beauty bronzer. This is the Shady Biz. This one is a lot warmer than the Inda Sun. And so I'm just going to put that kind of almost over the Inda Sun shade. I'm going to go into the Dust of Colors Blushing Berries palette, and I'm going to go into the second shade right here. It's just kind of a, I don't know how you would describe it, a muted cranberry red rose shade. We're just going to put this into our crease. These shades are super pigmented, so definitely want to go in with a light hand. And I'm using the M441. Okay, now I'm going to go into a flat shader brush. This is just from Sephora. You can use any brush that you have that will really pack on the shadow. So I'm going to go into the Norvina palette, and I'm going to go into E5. It is a kind of red wine cranberry shade. I really don't know how to describe it. And I'm really going to pack this on. I'm going to try to not bring it up too far. I feel like that's like where things went wrong last time, is I just brought it up way too far. But I am going to bring in just a little bit to the crease, just so it's a little bit easier to blend. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the second shade that we used from the Blushing Berries palette and just start blending this shade out. And this is a M433. I don't think I mentioned that. It's just a little bit more tapered and better for smaller blending in the crease than the M441. I'm going to take the M441 and I'm going to go into In the Sun by Fenty. Just going in with the bronzer again, just to blend on top of this shade. I'm just going to take a makeup wipe and clean up any fallout. That darker shade can have some fallout. So you just want to be careful and just make sure to do your face first. Your eyes first. I'm going to go in with the Pro Light Fusion by Makeup Forever in the shade 01. This is just like a light pinky champagne highlight. So I'm going to really highlight the inner corner and kind of blend it up into the eyeshadow just a little. Just so it doesn't get too dark in there. We have a little bit of a pop. And then take it up. So now I'm going to go ahead and put on a little bit of mascara. I'm going to use the L'Oreal Lash Paradise Mascara. And I'm just going to do this off camera and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and prime my face. Okay, I'm going to combine the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Touch or Instant Retouch Primer and the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Mattifying Primer. So I'm going to put the Soft Touch all over my face. And now I'm just going to put the mattifying one in my T-zone. And pretty much in my T-zone, but a little bit everywhere. This will just really help to mattify, blur the pores, and help my foundation just to stay on a little bit longer. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do foundation. I'm going to mix two foundations today. So I'm going to go in with the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Hydrating Longwear Foundation in the shade 120. And then I'm going to mix it in with the L'Oreal Fresh Wear Foundation. And mine is in the shade 400. I don't know. 400 Pearl. And I'm just going to mix these two together. I really love the L'Oreal Fresh Wear Foundation. It lasts really well on me and it has good coverage. It might have a little SPF in it. Yeah, it has SPF 25. So I really like to use it for daytime foundations. And then I just did a pump of the Fenty one. I did this, I can't remember when I did this combination, but I'm pretty sure it was Monday, or no, what is today? Yeah, I think it was Monday whenever I did this combination, and it wore really nice on me. This is the Real Techniques sponge. So next I'm going to go ahead and do concealer. I'm going to use the Mercier Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Concealer, and mine is in the shade 1N. I freaking love this concealer. I feel like I don't really use it on camera a lot. Maybe I do. But I love this concealer. I know I've mentioned it in favorites before, but this just has such good coverage. It looks really nice and flawless, hence the name. And it blends out like a dream. Like, it blends out in like 10 seconds. The shade's a little dark for me. Like, I wish I would have went just a shade or two lighter, because it's just a pinch dark. And I'm going to go ahead and blend it out. I'm not going to even bother letting it sit. Some days I will and some days I won't. Forgot to mention there is fallouts with these shades, which seems to be kind of a ongoing thing for Norvina palettes. Like, it kind of just seems like that's just how her eyeshadows are. Fallout doesn't bother me because I do my face first. But if it bothers you, just keep that in mind. These palettes are pretty expensive. They're $60 for one. And that's pretty expensive. Not that Anastasia has ever been cheap, but I mean, they are a lot bigger than their regular size pans, like the ones that come in the smaller palettes. And apparently this is like, I don't know what you would call this. It's a part of the Anastasia brand, but it's like Norvina's. I don't know. It's a lot to explain. I don't feel like it. I'm going with the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder. So, is anyone getting the Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson collab? I feel like those are all over YouTube right now, and everybody and their mother is buying them. I don't really want them. I don't have anything from Jeffree Star, and I do love Shane. I actually watch Shane a lot. I'm kind of a newer subscriber to him. I really do love Shane. I think he's super funny. I don't really watch Jeffree or follow up with Jeffree, but I feel like everybody in my subscription box has been reviewing the palette. if I'm being honest, the palette looks just kind of to me. I don't know. For some reason, I'm just not living for it. Maybe it's just like the color story kind of throws me off. I don't know. But I'm just setting my face with the same loose powder. I'm almost out, but I did get some at Sephora. So I'm not going to repurchase the Maybelline Fit Me for now. But I still absolutely love this powder. So I'm going to just use the Inda Sun bronzer and Shady Biz. I'm going to start off with Inda Sun, and this is what I'm mostly going to use. Just because this one is like super hard to go overboard with. This and Shady Biz, at least on my skin tone, I can very easily go overboard with, so. This shade is really good for contouring and bronzing for me, if you're my skin tone. But I'm going to use the NYX palette that I've been loving to contour. And now I'm just going to take a little bit of Shady Biz. I honestly love the color of Shady Biz. It's definitely a warm toned bronzer. So I just use a little bit of it. And I kind of feel like it's a little bit more pigmented than the other shade. Like I just take the tiniest bit. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and contour. I'm going to go in with the NYX Three Steps to Sculpt Face Sculpting Palette in the shade Fair. Again, I've been loving this palette. It's a really good drugstore contour palette. They're really pigmented, honestly, so I do kind of go with a light hand. I'm going to go back into my bronzer. This is the shade Inda Sun. How many times am I going to say that in this video? And I'm going to take this on an M506. It's just a small detailed blending brush. Perfect for the lower lash line. I have a little mascara on my top lash line. Or, what would you call it? On my eyeshadow. So I'm just going to pick it off with a Q-tip and then go over with a little bit more eyeshadow. That is the best way for me to get it off. Still on the M506, and I'm just going to go in with the second shade that we used. And I'm going to take a flat tip finer brush. This is just a M432. And I want to push this up to my lash line. If I'm not on the camera or my mirror is blocking me, I have to get super close to do this. Okay, so I'm going to take some, I don't know if I can get any powder out of my Maybelline Fit Me. Let's see. Maybe a little. And I'm just going to bake underneath my eyes. And this will really help to clean up the eyeshadow if you brought it down too far. This will just clean that up a little. Actually, since I'm almost out of that, I'm just going to go into my Maybelline Fit Me Press Powder. And I'm just going to just rub my sponge into this and bake everywhere else with this. I pulled a few lip colors. I really don't know what I want to do. I think I'm going to go in with the Whirl Lip Liner first. I need a new one of these, if you can't tell. I love this lip liner. Okay. So now that we have our lips lined, first going with MAC Honey Love. Love this lipstick. I have like this much left, but I have a whole nother tube on my desk. Anything that we need to fix or clean up, I will once we get done with the lips. I'm also going to go in with a little bit of Brave. I've been loving this lipstick. I feel like I've had it forever and I just never really wore it. But I've been loving it. It's a really nice nude pink. And it kind of has a little bit of a blue undertone to it. So I'm just going to pat that on. Go back in with a little bit of Whirl Lip Liner. I'm sorry if I'm not in camera. Just lips and lower lash line, I have to be so close. So now that we've done that, I'm going to go ahead and take off this bake. I'm not even going to bother pushing it into my skin. I'm not going anywhere, so I'm just going to dust this off. I'm just going to go back. I feel like I look so weird because my face isn't completely done, but I have lips on. I'm going to spray my face with a little bit of the Wet n Wild Coconut 3-in-1 Primer Water. And we're just going... Actually, I'm going to take in a little highlight. So I'm going to go with that Makeup Forever 01 highlight. And I'm just going to pop this on my cheeks. This has a nice pinky tone to it. Just the same one we use for our inner corner. So I think it'll add a nice little... It'll just like tie in the face with the eyes. So now I'm going to go ahead and contour my nose. I'm going to use the same Fenty bronzer. And I'm going to take this Lunar Beauty brush. I'm just going to take the fluffy side of it and start at my eyebrow and blend down my nose. And blend a little bit into my eyebrow and my eyeshadow. It's gonna look a little crazy, but we're gonna blend it out with our sponge. I just like to add a little color more than anything. That's why I blend it out with my sponge. Just so there's a little bit of color where there's not two stripes down my nose that are super visible. I'm gonna go in with the Anastasia Blush Trio in the shade Pink Passion. I've really been loving this one. I use this almost every time I do my makeup. I just love a nice pinky blush on my skin tone. This will just help to blend that highlight into the bronzer. And if you accidentally put on too much blush, like I do majority of the time, blush does fade the fastest on your face. So just blend it out and you'll be fine. And one last thing that we're going to do for our face is I'm going to take the NYX sculpting palette, and I'm going to take a E48. This is just a nice little under eye brush, and I'm just going to take the brightening shade and brighten up underneath of my eyeballs. I'm going to blend just right here a little. I'm going to use the Milani Make It Last matte charcoal setting spray. So I'm going to just take a little bit of Dose of Colors Can You Not lip gloss. I really love this lip gloss. It has like a cool undertone nude shade. So I'm just going to dot that in the middle. And then just blend that out. I'm going to apply a little bit of lower lash mascara. Using my same mascara that I used on my top, just the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. I cannot do this on camera, so I'll be right back. So I just grabbed the MAC Naked Liner. This is a lip liner, but I use it for my under eyes. So yeah, I'm gonna go change, try to do something with my hair. It'll probably look the same when I come back, and we'll be ready to finish this video. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'll see you in my next one. Bye!